I got a cup of coffee here. I set it here just before I turned on the camera, maybe about 15 minutes ago, and it actually sticks to the countertop ledge. We moved in this house about 4 years ago. It was built in 2018, so it's relatively new build house, and this ledge is extremely sticky. If I set something on it for any length of time, a cup of coffee, if some papers sit on here, something heavy gets set on the papers, you go to take it off, you literally have to peel it off. So something was done wrong when they originally painted all the trim in the house. So the whole trim package was done likely with the cheaper paint. I understand builders use paint because of the price point and everything. The painters that do it don't really have a choice. It was actually left here by the previous owner and by the builder. So I know what product it was. It was a Promar 400 from Sherwin-Williams in a gloss finish. Who knows how many coats they actually put on this? Who knows the circumstances? Maybe they were rushed. Maybe they didn't allow it to dry enough. And it could just be that product. Normally with products like that, they're okay on walls and things of that nature, but when it gets to painting trim, doors, trim packages in a house, or if you were painting a piece of furniture or something, you definitely want to use more of a trim enamel or some type of a urethane type product. I'm going to actually be repainting it with emerald urethane from Sherwin-Williams. So same paint company, just a different grade of product. It's been out for a few years and it's going to dry extra hard. You can put it on cabinets and things like that, built-ins, and it'll prevent this stickiness from happening. I got a cup of coffee here. I set it here just before I turned on the camera, maybe about 15 minutes ago, and it actually sticks to the countertop ledge. And right now we're about 35% humidity in this house, and it's still sticking, even after 6+ years or so. And today I want to repaint it, show you how to fix this issue. So what I'm going to be doing is going through the processes of actually taking off this finish, not necessarily stripping it, but just sanding it down and all the steps involved, and then repainting it with that emerald urethane. First thing that I've done is gathered all the tools I'm going to need. I usually prefer to bring everything in. I keep all my stuff out in the garage, but maybe in the basement, wherever you've got your tools for painting and things. And I may be a little overboard. I like to have everything I need close by. Make sure I don't have to run back outside or get distracted by something else in my house, especially when I'm working in my own home. After clearing the area to make room to work and prevent any personal items from getting in the way, the second thing I am doing is cleaning the surface with a cleaner degreaser and rinsing to remove any cleaning residue. It is very likely this ledge has been touched by hands and fingers. Our hands contain oils and grease that can be a contaminant and will prevent good adhesion of the new paint. I recommend cleaning to remove these oils first, allowing to dry, and then sanding the surface. If you sand first, you can actually push these oils into the existing surface, and good adhesion can still be an issue. Next, I am protecting the surfaces around the area I do not want to get dirty or dusty during the surface prep, or to get paint on when I'm applying the new paint. I'm protecting the floor with canvas drop cloths, and I will be masking off the granite countertop nearby the painted ledge as well. I am not painting the walls at this time or any time in the near future, although they are on my to-do list. So I'm going to mask off the wall surfaces close to where I will be painting, just as a precaution. If I was planning to paint the walls right away, I wouldn't worry about this step, and it would be okay for me to get a little trim paint on the walls.
Using the hand masker really makes this easy and fast. I'm making sure I press down along where I'm taping the edge just to make sure nothing bleeds through. Adding little pieces of tape to the edges just to make sure the masking film doesn't blow or accidentally fall while I'm applying the paint. So it's just an extra little step. I've actually learned from experience, so doing those little steps saves me from frustrations later. I'm actually going to tape off where the ledge meets the wall. I've got a section where the caulk was cracked, and so I've cut it out, and I plan to re-caulk right in this area. I'm using the tape just to protect the caulk from getting onto the wall where I won't be painting right away. And once I get that caulked, before the caulk cures, I'll actually pull off that piece of tape in order to make sure I've got a nice crisp, clean line and the caulk doesn't seal the tape and I won't be able to get the tape pulled off. And then when I'm painting, I will paint and freehand that line rather than paint up onto the tape. If you leave that dry on there after caulking, it just creates a headache and will actually peel off the paint or cause issues later on.
All right, so I hit it with that orbital, got it sanded down. I was using 120 grit sandpaper. So this is nice and smooth. I had the speed turned down probably to about halfway on the Festool orbital sander that I was using. And the reason for that is I didn't want too much speed. I didn't want to apply a ton of pressure. I was letting the machine do the work. If I put too much pressure on this, it'll actually gum up on me, especially because of the type of paint that was used and that it was sticky. If I just dive right in, try and really grind out everything, it will just gum up in the paper. So once again, let the tool do the work. You could do it by hand, you could sand with paper, just regular sandpaper, do it, and it'd be fine. That's enough, just enough to create an etch. I was doing a little bit more, trying to smooth this out, just to try and make as nice of a finish as I can with everything. So I'm gonna dig into the corners here real quickly. I'm not doing anything really crazy. This is a Surf Prep sander. They come, and you can get these in other brands too, but with nice soft paper here. So I've got just like a medium grit paper, nothing too much, probably close to 120 grit. And all I'm gonna do is just briefly go over the corners. This will bend in shape to the corners here.
After all the sanding is complete, I vacuum off all the surfaces and wipe them down with a damp cloth to collect all the sanding dust and residue. You can use a tack cloth as well, but be careful not to leave any sticky residue on the surface. I prefer a clean, damp cloth. Note, it isn't super wet, just damp enough to collect any dust particles. I'm also caulking the area between the ledge and wall at this time and allowing it to dry properly before applying the paint. Now the ledge and trim surfaces are ready for paint. The surface doesn't require a primer since the wood ledge has already been sealed and the sanding has etched the surfaces well enough to provide great adhesion of the new top coat. If I would have sanded through the coats of paint to raw wood, I would then recommend spot priming with a quality wood primer and allowing it to dry thoroughly before applying the first coat of paint. I'm applying the paint with a paintbrush. I like to start with the trim piece and the underside of the ledge first. This makes sure that when I'm painting the very top of the ledge that I won't have to worry about any lips or drips hanging over that edge where the top of the ledge and the underside meet. I tried to apply the paint very liberally and then use long strokes to smooth out the paint evenly. Having a rag nearby in case you accidentally get paint where you don't want it to makes it easy to wipe off and continue working. When I do apply the paint to the very top ledge, I'm going to apply it evenly across the top of the ledge, making sure again that I'm being very liberal with the application. And then what I'll do at the very end is tip it off in long strokes to make sure that the surface or the paint on the surface is very even. And then before I wrap up and stop painting and put everything away, I like to kind of sight down the surface, making sure that I'm not missing anything and that everything is coated properly. The product data sheet for the emerald urethane recommends allowing a minimum of 4 hours of dry time between coats. This allows all the moisture to properly off-gas from the raw materials in the paint. If the second coat is applied too soon, it can trap this moisture and cause bubbling in the finish or prevent the paint from drying properly. And then this ledge would be sticky yet again. So just to be safe, I allowed the first coat to dry overnight before applying the second coat. Okay, I've got the second coat on. I'm gonna let this set up, cure a little bit, pull the plastic, clean everything up, wrap everything up, make sure I tell my family not to touch the ledge for a while. It'll be dry to the touch relatively quickly. However, I won't want to put anything on it for probably 7 to 10 days, make sure it cures well enough. The recommendation by manufacturers typically is up to 30 days for a full cure. So I won't wash it or do anything like that or use any chemicals on it for that period of time. But typically in 7 to 10 days, I'll be able to start setting stuff on there. And I'll no longer have to worry about having anything stick to it.